Hi guys! Today we were going to be talking about astro dating. We're playing Smash or Pass. I hope you are into this just as much as I am. And without any further ado, let's get to it, right? We've all seen them on the cinema screens. We've seen them on red carpets. But do you actually know what it's like to date one of these people, right? Today we're going to be playing Smash or Pass, like I said. We're going to be doing this with an astro twist. We're checking out their birth charts, right? You'll soon find out who we're going to be looking into. And we're going to assess whether they have husband material or they're just a canon event waiting to happen, right? So we're going to be looking at all of this and, assessing who's an ideal Sunday morning type of person and who is a one-way ticket into your therapist's office. The first thing we're going to be looking at today is Leonardo DiCaprio. This is the toxic legend himself. This is the man, the myth, and the under 25 legend, Leonardo DiCaprio. So to understand why, the internet's favorite problematic crush, we have a look at his sort of Scorpio cluster that we can see here. So Leo isn't just a Scorpio sun, right? He has his sun there, his Mars there. He also has Venus all in Scorpio. So this is a triple threat. We're talking, intensity, we're talking magnetism, and let's be so real, right? It's a massive need for control. Why does he struggle to let go of his youth, right? Or of youth as an idea in general, right? So this is because Scorpios are a fixed sign, right? So difficult change is really difficult to deal with, right? So anything that isn't predictable, anything that they don't have, the utmost amount of control or like pattern recognition with tends to be quite difficult because they are a fixed energy. They want it their way or the highway. So I think this idea of not being able to let go of the idea of youth, association with youth, may have to do with the fixedness of his energy. In the case of Leo, aging represents, like the process of aging itself kind of represents a shift in power in some kind of way, right? It changes something, not just in how he feels about himself, but also how he's perceived. And so I think that with the fixedness of his energy, change in perception and like aging being a huge part of that process is kind of difficult to come to terms with, right? And obviously he does have his Venus in Scorpio, and so he does crave that all or nothing peak intensity type of romance, right? Once the relationship kind of hits this mature stage, right, it's almost like bye-bye with that, like let it be gone. And I suppose there's something about a power dynamic that he likes to maintain, and it's an easier quote unquote dynamic to maintain with someone who's significantly younger. And so the Scorpio sting looks for kind of new obsession to feel that sort of rush again. But wait, just wait. There's something that this pretty boy has. There's a certain level of, prettiness, and there's a layer in that we need to assess, right? And I would say, judging by this chart, it comes from the fact that he has his rising sign and his moon in Libra, right? So this is where all the effortless, Great Gatsby charm kind of comes from. The Libra side wants to look beautiful and harmonious and strategic and poised and socially engaged, while the Scorpio side wants everything private and deep. So there's this really interesting contrast between this very visible Libra energy that we can see from him, but also this undercurrent of Scorpio energy in the background. And it's a constant battle, I would say, between these two energies. On the one hand, you're a global superstar, and on the other end, you're like this mysterious ghost. That's almost also a part of the allure when it comes to him, right? So what's your final judgment? In my case, smash if you want that, Gatsby type of energy, yacht parties, and a partner who's sort of like, intensely devoted, I would say, for a limited time. And pass if you've already celebrated your 25th birthday, because you're obviously not making it inside the club, honey. You could dream about that. I'm sorry, but it's true, right? And I don't make the rules. This is his chart, and the chart said what it said and stands dead ass on that, right? So that is Leonardo DiCaprio, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we're going to move on to the internet's favorite boyfriend. That is Timothée Chalamet, of course, none other. This is the king of soft boy aesthetics. Don't let those dreamy eyes kind of fool you though. Everyone kind of sees him as this very visionary poet, but this is a Capricorn sun man. Like, least we forget, this is a Capricorn sun man, and he has a Virgo rising. That soft look, that's pretty much the Virgo rising, kind of giving him those refined features and this very polished vibe. But underneath that, right, he is a total workaholic with a 5-year plan, and he isn't as dreamy as he looks. He is an ambitious person. If we look at his Mars in Capricorn, right, this is a placement of someone who is obsessed with his craft, right? He doesn't just act, he works with the military level discipline. You know, he's in the 5th house of creativity, so as well. So this Capricorn energy is in his 5th house of creativity. So the primary relationship isn't with a person, it's with his art. I guess the question here is he ready for a serious relationship? And his moon is in Pisces, which I suppose is what gives him sort of this emotional layer and depth and sort of sensitive side that everyone kind of loves. But his Venus is also in Aquarius, and in astrology, Venus and Aquarius need space, right? Let's call a spade a spade. They do need space, and he wants an intellectual connection and freedom, not like a traditional white picket fence type of marriage, right? Just right now, though, he's effectively married to his career, I would say, and everything around that needs to fall into place. So that's the vibe. And you know, the verdict is smash if you love an intellectual who can have very deep conversations about cinema until 4 a.m. and pass if you aren't just ready to be second place to an Oscar, right? If that's something that you want and you deeply want to be chosen, this is probably not a great smash point for you. He's a Capricorn and he's chasing the mountaintop, not just a happily ever after. Next, we are talking about, you know, the golden retriever. This is Tom Holland, ladies and gentlemen. This is the internet's favorite golden retriever. And if you've ever wondered why it's impossible to be bored by him, just look at his chart. It will tell you everything that you need to know, right? Tom is a Gemini sun with a Sagittarius moon. And in astrology, this is ultimate adventurer combo. So Gemini is a life of the party who can talk to anyone about anything. That Sagittarius moon as well that he has gives him this like restlessness and optimistic energy, and that kind of makes him skip across the stage, very happy-go-lucky type of vibe. And he isn't just acting energetic, right? Looking at his chart, he literally has a double dose of let's go type of energy. But here's the secret as to why he's so grounded, right? He also has a Virgo rising, and this is why he looks a lot younger than he is, and why he actually cares about the details of things. It's also the secret sauce in his relationship with Zendaya, who is a Virgo sun. And I guess people think air and earth doesn't mix, but Tom and Zendaya are perfectly ruled by Mercury in this kind of case, right? The planet of communication. So you can even see that their relationship works because they speak the same intellectual language. And he kind of brings the air, the fun and noise in a way, and she brings the earth, which is like the stability and the logic. So it's a very perfect chaos meets calm type of balance. Is he your match? Right? Is he your match? Here we have, you know, smash if you want a life full of endless adventures, right? And constant banter, someone who will literally keep you laughing until your stomach hurts. And pass if you need a partner who's just quiet and mysterious or likes to stay at home in total silence, right? With the Gemini sun and Sagittarius moon, the mute button does not exist. Now, we have the absolute unit, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, right? So we finally have the safe space himself, Dwayne Johnson, otherwise known as The Rock. If the other guys on this list are projects, Dwayne is the finished empire. This is kind of someone who typically would have a Taurus sun, right? So this is something that exemplifies stability. The Taurus here is ruled by Venus. So that just means that behind all that muscle is a man who deeply loves loyalty, comfort, and building a beautiful, stable life with his family. He isn't just The Rock, you know, he is also the entire foundation in this case. But, you know, let's check out his moon and Jupiter, which are in Capricorn. So this is a billionaire signature. Taurus gives him the desire for sort of the empire, but that Capricorn moon gives him the ironclad, the discipline to actually build it. He doesn't just show up. He outworks everyone, right? There's this uncanny discipline about him and longevity. And yeah, he outworks everyone in the room. He's very reliable and pretty much the safe option in this whole list. He also has a Libra rising, right? So that's why he's so incredibly charming. Libra is also ruled by Venus, just as Taurus is, and it gives him this very perfect symmetrical, like Hollywood, I want to say, look. as well. So if you look at his features, he is very much symmetrical. He has this charm about him. He looks very good. He also has this ability to win over anyone with that smile, right? It's one of the best smiles you can actually see. It's warm, it's inviting. And, you know, even with a Venus and Mars in Gemini, which makes him very super talkative and like witty, this Taurus core kind of really keeps him grounded. So it's quite an interesting combination of planets that he has in his chart. I don't know. What do you think? Is he the one? Tell me in the comments. Let's see what we have here. So we have Smash. If you're looking for a safe space, obviously he's the guy who will protect you. He's the guy who will provide for you and buy you a house just because it's a Tuesday, and why not? And Pass, if you are, you know, a lover of chaos, right? If you need a partner who's unpredictable or wild, and yeah, Dwayne's stable, routine heavy. Taurus energy might even feel boring to you if this is something that you like, right? And yeah, for the rest of us, he is the ultimate win. The final tally is in. All right, we've gone through all of them, and honestly, my heart says Tom Holland for the laughs, but my chart is screaming Timothée for the intensity, because I love me a little bit of that. It's a struggle. I'm actually thinking about this as I look at these charts. You know what? It's your turn to play. I want to see your Venus sign in the comment section, please. Pretty please put your Venus sign there. I think it's a really cool thing for us to do and interact on. You know, tell me where your Venus is in your chart, and I'll tell you which one of these 4 people that we've spoken about today are your actual astro match. How's about that? And I'm not saying that they will meet everything on your list, but they could be pretty close to it. So if you're interested and you want to play a game with me, put it down in your comment section. What is your Venus sign? You'll definitely want to stick around, because next up we're going to be, you know, doing Zodiac It Girls, which I absolutely love. And it's the version of Smash or Pass that has to do with the It Girls. And I think that's going to be kind of fun. Don't miss out. Obviously, this has been super fun. So talking about the girlies is always going to be even better. I'll let you know, obviously, when that drops, and make sure you're here when it does. Subscribe. Like this video, please. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. And also make sure to turn on that notification bell so you do not miss out on anything that we're posting up here. It's been such a great time to talk to you today. I hope you're taking good care of yourself. And yeah, I hope to see you next time. Have yourself a beautiful day.